Oh golly gee willikers, Jar, another Mary Sue video? Haven't you done like 50 of these already?
Another one.
Okay guys, I know I've done like 4 Mary Sue videos already, 5 if you considered a video I did on Techno's channel, but I promise this is the last one because I have nothing more to say on the topic after this video. In my first video, I talked about the differences between Gary Stews and Mary Sues. In my second video, I talked about how there's too many Mary Sues nowadays. In the video I did on Techno's channel, I talked about the different types of Mary Sues. In my fourth video, I talked about how way too many Mary Sues are coming out of Disney nowadays.
Whoa, that's a genuinely shocking fact.
And in my last video on this topic, I went over what my definition of a Mary Sue even is. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about how you can make a Mary Sue character that people will actually like.
Wait,
Now I'm gonna create my own original OC Mary Sue right here, right now. They are a female. They are perfect in just about every way. All the characters love them. They are one of the most powerful characters in their verse, if not the most powerful, and they sometimes do terrible things that the other characters just seem to ignore. So far, this doesn't seem like such a good character, and it sounds like a lot of people won't like them, but I just have to do 2 things. Well, technically 3, but I can pick between 2 of them, and it will completely fix the character. Number 1, don't make them the main character. And number 2, make them either a villain or a mentor. I already went over this in my last video, but the villain Sue is one of the best Sues. People love a good villain. They don't care how powerful they are, it just gives the hero something to overcome. So if you want to make a Mary Sue character, make sure they're evil and diabolical. You can make them somewhat sympathetic if you want, but it doesn't matter how powerful or perfect you make them, because 99.9% of the time, the villain is supposed to be overcome and defeated by the hero. But even then, sometimes villain Sues can have their own issues to them, like Madara Uchiha. He was just too powerful and too perfect. He went toe-to-toe with the first Hokage, who has big tree muscles. Even characters with just a few of his cells become Jonin. Madara got his own super form merging with the World Tree, created the Infinite Tsukuyomi to mind control the entire planet, and he just out of nowhere gets defeated by Kaguya because the writer couldn't figure out a way for the heroes to defeat him. So yes, even a villain Sue can be written terribly. But the only Sue that's easier to write than the villain Sue is the mentor Sue. You're probably thinking to yourself, what the fuck does a mentor and a Mary Sue have in common? Believe it or not, it's a lot more than you might think. The main mentors I'll be focusing on are the ones from anime, because I'm trash. Look at characters like Master Roshi, and yes, I know in Z he was by far not even close to being one of the strongest characters in the verse, but in original Dragon Ball when Goku first met him, he was the strongest in the world. He could blow up a mountain, or the fucking moon, and no other character in original Dragon Ball even came close to doing something that cool. Master Roshi regularly sexually assaults women, along with a whole bunch of old mentor characters. In real life, if an old man sexually assaulted a young girl, he would probably get called out, go to jail, maybe get sued. A lot of bad things could happen. Just like the characters from Invincible ignored the terrible actions of Amber, every anime character ignores that their mentor is sexually assaulting teenage girls repeatedly. At least give Jiraiya credit, he mostly went after of-age women, except for that time he had Naruto use his sexy jutsu so he could check out the young body of a 12-year-old girl. You know, now that I'm an adult looking back on this, it's a hell of a lot more creepy than I remember.
it's awful.
And also, Jiraiya is one of the 3 legendary Sannin. He ranks with the 5th Hokage and Orochimaru. But what about old mentor characters who aren't complete pervs? Like Netero or Genkai. They are both strong old mentor characters who are the strongest humans in their verse. And before you say, what about Yusuke? Well, he was part demon, so it doesn't really count.
Whoa there, Mr. Gay Robo-Man. You're gonna talk about Urameshi, but not my boy Kuwabara, when he can split dimensions with his sword? You can suck on my sword!
The only problem I have with these old mentor characters is when the writer refuses to let them die. Genkai died, but then she came back to life, but then she did basically nothing throughout the story, so she might as well have been dead. Now, I haven't seen all of Fairy Tail, but from what I've been told, the old mentor character at the very end uses a spell that would greatly decrease his lifespan. And he was already an old man, so it was guaranteed to kill him, and he somehow survived. But what about old mentor characters outside of anime? Like Gandalf or Dumbledore, also known as Gandalf the Gay. What do all these mentor characters have in common? Well, they're all really old, that's true, but they're also really powerful and seemingly perfect, so why don't we hate them in the same way we hate other Mary Sue characters? Well, the answer is actually quite simple. You see, the biggest factor to being a Mary Sue is when the universe revolves around them, also being granted a whole bunch of power without working for it. All mentor characters have worked very hard, sometimes harder than any other character in the verse, to get to the power level that they have now. Well, everybody except for Gandalf. Yes, if you actually read the books, you would know that he's not actually an old man, that's just a disguise. Old mentor characters are almost always destined to be surpassed. Now, there are a few mentor characters who never seem to be surpassed, like Mr. Miyagi, but Master Roshi got surpassed, Jiraiya got surpassed, and even Fumbledore got surpassed. That's what keeps villain Sues and old mentor Sues from being actual Mary Sues, because they're destined to be defeated or surpassed. And that's why if you create a Mary Sue character but still want to keep them, make them a mentor or the villain. Can you think of your own way to make a Mary Sue character work? Tell me in the comments section down below. Now, I want to make something very clear. I'm going to be talking about Mary Sues in the future, but I'm not going to be making any more videos specifically focusing on the concept of a Mary Sue. I do plan on making a full video about Rei, or Kirito, or maybe even Korra. But no more videos specifically on the concept of being a Mary Sue.
No!
Now, if you already have a Mary Sue character who isn't a mentor, a villain, and is the main character, but you want to fix them, then make them less of a Mary Sue as the story goes on, kind of like what they did with Korra, or Rick from Rick and Morty. Yeah, Rick is kind of a mentor character, but he's a pretty shitty one. But never forget, Mary Sues aren't the only characters who are hated. There are other characters who aren't Mary Sues that people hate. Like Caillou.